The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
Listen to such a story that mamish happened just a generation ago. I'll read you as I see here in the Sefer part of the story. I found the wording to be so beautiful. Many years ago in the old Yishuv of Yerushalayim, there were a tremendous number of Talmidei Chachamim held in very high esteem. Unfortunately, there were not necessarily enough rabbinic positions or positions of Dayanim to be a judge that were available for all of these great scholars. Now, one of the most desired and esteemed positions was that of being a Dayan, a judge in Yerushalayim. Besides the fact that it was a prestigious position, it was one that paid relatively well. And additionally, it was the type of position that once a person held, it was really a position he held for life. It was very rare when they ever needed to choose a new dayan. Once you had that position, you kept it for life. It happened once that one of the dayanim, an elderly dayan by the name of Rabbi Michal, he had the post for a number of years, extremely respected dayan in the Kehillah, but he became ill. And the doctors told him that he had to receive special treatment and he had to travel abroad for a lengthy period of time. Now, obviously, he was very careful to safeguard his health, and he acknowledged, obviously, that means I have to take care of my health first, and my position as Dayan in Yerushalayim is going to have to, I have to give up that position. As soon as this elderly Dayan, Reb Michal, gave up the position, all of a sudden a frenzied campaign started, because as we mentioned earlier, there were a lot of people that were very qualified, and the positions were so rare, so you could only imagine. And many people applied for the position. Some wanted to get it based on their credentials. Others used what's called protexia, the protection of people that they knew. And everybody with their credentials vied for this one vacant spot of Dayan. There wasn't anyone who fought harder for the position with determination to get it than Rabbi Aryeh Levine. Now, my Rabbi Aryeh Levine, known as the Tzaddik of Yerushalayim, no one had more determination than him to win the position of Dayan. In fact, it's said that day after day, night after night, he left no stone unturned, doing everything he could to get this much desired position of Dayan. And when indeed the council finally determined who was going to win that vacant seat of Dayan, Rabbi Aryeh Levine was the one who won and got that seat. You could imagine, based on the way we spoke the last minute, many people were surprised. The entire demeanor and mahus and Ibergegebenkeit of Rabbi Aryeh Levine, the tzaddik of Yerushalayim, the renowned tzaddik of Yerushalayim, it didn't seem characteristic, it didn't seem part of his way that he would be fighting with such determination to get the position. Number one, it's not like he was a young person who was looking to establish himself. He was already the renowned tzaddik. He didn't particularly need the financial gain to go ahead and support a young family. And comments were made not understanding why is Rabbi Aryeh Levine, why was he so determined? But he took it all in stride, and he did exactly what he was supposed to with devotion as Dayan. The story ends as maybe you already figured it out. About a year later, Reb Michal, the former Dayan, returned to Yerushalayim, restored to health. He was rejuvenated. On the very day that Reb Michal, the elderly Dayan who had stepped down after a year, when he came back, Reb Aryeh Levine went to visit him, and without hesitation, he turned to Reb Michal and he said, Reb Michal, now take back the position that's yours of Dayan. And that's when the story became this gala. Reb Aryeh Levine heard that there were a number of other Dayanim, young Dayanim, that were pushing hard for the job that was vacated by Reb Michal a year earlier. And he understood that this one was going to land it, or maybe that one was going to land it. But he also understood that if that young Dayan, whichever one was in the lead for the position, would get it, he may never relinquish the job, even when Reb Michal would return. So he wanted to protect the Dayanis. He wanted to protect the position for Reb Michal. So he fought even harder and harder to secure the job. Not that he wanted it, because the sensitivity in his heart knew Reb Michal would be in need of parnasa when he comes back, maybe even more so because of the medical expenses. So he ensured that he got the position so it would revert back to Reb Michal. That's a Maisa. That's a Maisa. That's the tzaddik of Yerushalayim, and that's what the pasuk means when he says, when you're looking for the leader, when you're looking for someone to be a dayan, make sure it's someone who's Yirei Elokim, Anshe Emes, God-fearing, sensitive, people of truth, people like Rabbi Aryeh Levine, whose only interest was, I'm going to take it so that when Michal comes back, on that very day I could hand him back his position, because he may even need it then more than ever, especially the finances perhaps to pay for some of the medical expenses. That's the type of leadership. It might not be that we're being appointed as a dayan or as a lead over particular, but we do lead in our mishpacha. We do lead by example.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org